Plut, is it? Is that what that says?
This says sold out.
Ah, okay.
You can tell that to the boys. Answer, answer, answer me. Can you listen carefully? I know what you want me to be, and I never will. But the truth didn't rhyme.
Dankeschön, meine lieben Damen und Herren. Mein Name ist Plut. Das Bluebird Festival 2018 ist hiermit eröffnet.
Der beste Ort, Musik zu genießen, ist, finde ich, mit voller Aufmerksamkeit, und die Aufmerksamkeit ist in einem schönen Rahmen wie diesem gegeben. Ja, und natürlich, wenn ein Festival gut kuratiert wird oder sorgsam kuratiert wird, ist das natürlich nur für einen Vorteil für die Zuhörerinnen und die Besucherinnen. Und das ist nicht oft der Fall. Ich merke da oft, wenn man selber als Künstler irgendwie eingeladen ist oder als Künstlerin, dass sehr viele Interessen oft zusammenspielen. Aber wenn da ein gebündelter Plan irgendwie dahinter ist, dann spürt man das auch auf der Bühne.
Wir drehen uns einen Baum. Du laufst und ich bleib stehen. Du hast keine Angst vorm Sterben. Sag, wovor fürchst du dich? Vor allem, was gut ist in der Welt.
Es gefällt uns sehr, dass wir heute da sein dürfen. Dieses schöne Festival eröffnen. Ich habe heute beim Zusammenpacken gedacht, unser Proberaum ist gleich ums Eck in Simmering. Was ist da witzig? Ich habe gedacht an die ersten Konzerte, die ich gehabt habe bei mir daheim in der Obersteiermark, in Ramsau am Dachstein. Ihr müsst euch vorstellen, ich war damals noch nicht der Paul Plut, sondern der Pauli von der Blutschlosserei mit so lange braune Haaren. Und ein Regenbogenleiberl und meistens barfuß unterwegs und eigentlich rund um die Uhr unglücklich verliebt. Und ich habe da meine ersten Konzerterfahrungen irgendwie gesammelt halt bei uns beim Freizeitpark, und da war jeden Mittwoch der Lagerfeuer-Gitarrist.
In der Kirche Orgel gespielt. Für den Vater, Bruder, Burm. Sag mir, wenn's das käme siehst, geh mir kalt, ist nicht.
Was macht für mich einen guten Song aus? Ich werde davon berührt, und von was berührt zu werden, hat oft sehr wenig Kriterien. Das Ausschlaggebende ist eher die Emotionalität, und die kann man nicht wirklich steuern. Oder im besten Fall sind das keine Lieder nach Formel oder nach Rezepten, sondern ich habe einmal so eine Liste gemacht an Liedern, die ich einfach sehr gern habe und die mich irgendwie berühren. Und das ist, egal ob das jetzt ein Song von R.E.M. ist oder von PJ Harvey oder von eben Bob Dylan, wie du sagst, das ist eigentlich, kann man das sehr schwer runterbrechen. Oder ich habe es bis jetzt noch nicht herausgefunden, was da genau dahinter steckt, außer dass man merkt, dass das irgendwie von Herzen kommt.
It's really a treat to be here twice in 1 year in this great city that you all get to live in. And it truly is the most Christmassy place on the planet. So, this is not a Christmas song, but I just wanted to thank you.
Now I'm waking at the crack of dawn to send a little money home. From here to the moon is rising like a discotheque. And now my bags are down and packed for traveling. Looking at happiness, keeping my flavor fresh. Nobody knows, I guess, how far I'll go. I know. So I'm leaving at 6 o'clock, meet in a parking lot, heavy at hand, a shot, sunglasses on. She waves.
The best shows for me are the ones where I get into, spirit, and I don't really remember. Like, the best shows, or that I hear the best shows, are the ones that I can't fully recall because I'm really kind of somewhere in between, I'm somewhere else, and I guess it feels like it's like church to me. I mean, I don't subscribe to any religion, but this is definitely where I come to worship, I guess.
Face a choice between the letting go and the holding on. In more than tears I've caused or cried. And please remember, love, I've tried, and I'll keep trying to keep my place by, keep a pace by your side. Oh, but here we are. Please forgive my foolish heart. Lord, forgive my foolish heart.
I mean, I just feel that as a human, I think if I were or weren't an artist, I would hope that I would still feel that, and not just for younger people, but just for the earth and for everything that's going on. I don't think that we have the luxury of being passive anymore, or not being, involved in everything that's going on around us. Kind of feeling that doing scary things with you guys, so this is a song I've never played either. This is a song I wrote when I was in a band called The Jealous Girlfriends, but the band broke up before we could record this song. That's funny. My youth.
When the love that you were feeling has all been shriveled up and died. Oh,
I love you, keep going. Be the message, I've been through a lot in my life, and I think just showing up sometimes is the message. Just being able to be here and do it, as little as that may seem, as like baseline as that is, I think it's just keep going.
and then sometimes it feels that all I have is worry, and then it's hard to see my other side. But I'm just as soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. Understood.
Yes. Yeah.
I want to hide, want to. Thank you very much. I love this city. I love visiting here. Thank you guys for coming. You know I don't go easy. I never made a myth of your disease. I hedged my bets with every soul I ever loved, except for one. Honey, all I know of hope is throwing stones into the void. I don't want your voice to move me. I don't want to be cracked open. I don't want the broken finds the silver side of the moon behind you. When I find you, driftwood, bones and fog and smoke, pull the oak, a knotted oak, a joke, a hymn we only spoke and never sung. Those of us born and lost, you know, we only trust the line on the horizon. When I find you, I don't want your voice to move me.
Certainly it's therapeutic. I don't think it's both therapeutic and then also a sort of puzzle to put together. And yeah, I think everything I've written has had something to do with grief. I think grief is this other side of loving deeply, and so you can't have love without this also the presence of grief. And so this record, I really wanted to challenge myself to kind of stare into the abyss, I guess, in a way I hadn't yet done.
Tenderness, do you want tenderness? Break a leg for tenderness, curse your head for tenderness.
The songs do explore really dark territory, but it's also such a joy to connect with people in them. And I think I love the experience of singing something that I spent all this time alone in my room making, and then to have it become real for another person, and or to travel so far from home and have someone in Vienna that shares an experience and that can relate to my experience. I think that feels really miraculous and the best part of what I do.
I feel that music fills in the gaps between us. I think that language is limiting and social context is limiting and fear and ego, and it keeps us from connecting, and it sort of keeps us alone in our existential way, loneliness. And so sometimes music can be a conduit between us all to help us feel connected, that we are part of something greater than us. And to me, if I wasn't making music, I would probably still be a writer of some kind, but music has always just been the most immediate medium for me to feel connected to other people, and that's really all I ever want to feel is to feel understood.
But don't let them go. Don't let them go to waste. The fire in my eye is fleeting now. Your robot heart is bleeding. Try to be the robot.
Actually, I feel like the music itself is second to the connecting part. And if we play a perfect show and all the music is executed perfectly, but I don't feel connected to the audience, I wouldn't think of that as being a good show. Whereas if the music was really sloppy and not very good, but I felt a deep connection with the crowd, that would be far more pleasing to me. And I think that that's what I seek, is to feel that connection. It's like a drug to feel like we're not alone. And so every time I get it, I just want more.
The linchpin that holds all your eyes to your lids, all your outsides to your ins, is wavering.
I'm the youngest child, by the way. Center of attention.
Oh,
now stay in, keep it going. And sometimes it's more than clear when morning comes early here, and I know that the day is near. Wasted days make for wasted years. Now I'm vicious with appetite and sobering half a mind.
Answer, answer, answer me.
Still very special.
It's incredibly special.
And everyone around me seems to know the dangers that will come. Yet I always want to see your eyes. I just wasn't brave enough. I follow you till I run down. So where are you running now?
I think it can't be separate. I think it's social, political. Every time human relations are also social, political. How we relate ourselves as a society, it always ends up being political in a way. So I think at other point I would say it wasn't, but now I think it's all interconnected in a way that even though if you're saying about human relationship, it still ends up being social, political.
I watched the stars the other night. I feel so little in the light to be aware of where I stand and just pretend that I'm okay.
Yeah, now I think the problems we face as a society are harder to just because they're more, I think, subtle. We're not going through, well, we are going through wars, but not as we were doing before. So now it's more of about subtle things, and it's, I don't know if the straightforward political song works anymore. I have no idea, but it seems like now it's more on the details and on other, it goes through other paths that, yeah, I'm not sure about actually, but it seems like, yeah, what you say, maybe the protest song of the 60s is not anymore the way, but maybe it does. I still listen to that, so yeah, could be. This is called Colors. It's a song designed to be played with a band, but it's just me here, so I will ask you to imagine the rest.
It's getting dark enough to see your color.
That's Bluebird.
The sun will be the way we shine. Leave the silence to feel the night.
Many people are actually inspired by, let's say, Anglo-Saxon artists. I don't know if there's something really special to French artistry and French musicians, especially. I guess we had a golden era, like in the 60s and 70s. But there's always some very good musicians showing up, very good artists. At any time, you just have to maybe dig a bit to find them.
So the three of us drove all the way from Lyon to get here. We just had a very short tour of 3 shows, and tonight is the last one. It's a pleasure being here because we've been welcomed very well. And yesterday we played in a boat that had no heating system, so it was a concert with a temperature of 2 degrees. So only the fact that it's warm here and to see so many of you, it feels nice.
Some talk and talk to feel that
I still don't really see myself as an artist, as you know, the artist figure. To me, it's still a bit blurry. I just consider myself as a musician, and the reason I do music is because I've always been quite passionate about it. But I never really questioned myself as to why am I doing this or what's my purpose with it. I just feel lucky that my music landed in the ears of people that actually cared for it and encouraged me to go on stage and to make records and everything. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Well, my name is Raoul, and I'm very happy to be here at the Bluebird Festival. We drove a long way, and I probably look very tired, but very happy nonetheless. Thank you.
Told me you dance so hard. You told me where you dance so well, but I know that's just something you say. You said it was the only one. You said it was the only one, but I know you say that to all the good.
All right, well, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to perform at the Bluebird Festival in Vienna. Thank you.
Answer, answer, answer me. Can you listen carefully? I know what you want me to be, and I never will. I hope you're listening still. I hope you're listening still. I hope you're listening still. Why did I question myself? Why did I alter the tone? Love it or leave it alone. Love it or leave it alone. Constantly dreading the fear. Constantly dreading what's real. Hoping that you'll be my shield.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. Such a wonderful festival they put on, and we're so honored to be a part of it.
Where are you going? Where have you been today? Will you be back tomorrow? Will you be back to me someday? I could be your dream girl, your whole world.
Oh, this looks like a great festival. This Bluebird Festival, wow. Oh, I'm playing. Actually, I have to go. My set's now. See you later.
My name is Matthias. I came to say this. I've got a big bushy beard and kissable lips. It's true. And I carry all my fat in my ass and my hips. The rest of me is skinny as a stick. In the 60s, my mom was hip and mini-skirted. She was raised as a Catholic, but then she converted. She loved my dad's religion and she loved him too. And that's how I was born a Jew. I want to say a huge thank you to Klaus and the Bluebird team for bringing us here. You guys are awesome. We were talking to Klaus earlier, and we said, hey, is there a song you want to hear? And he named this one, and so he's kind of the boss of us. So we have to do what he says. We used to take photographs in the graveyard, back when we were little goth idiots. We used to smoke hash before math class. Everybody did it. And I know we never learned all our lessons, but we did learn some.
Irony is, for me, it's essential in my songwriting because it's difficult for me to approach certain issues directly. I really admire some songwriters who can do it and who can, write, for example, a political song that's just earnest and direct. I can't.
I really can't say enough good things about this festival. Everyone's been so kind to us and done such an amazing job. Guys, they have a beer tap backstage. Just like, yeah. It's like a newborn child. Interesting when it's young. Gets pedestrian after a while. It's like a hurricane. It happens in Florida. And it destroys everything. Stop it!
I've tried before to write a political song, I've tried to sit down and be like, okay, I want to write about this issue, this important thing that I care about, and it never works because I always feel like it sounds too hard or too much like I'm preaching or something. But I guess politics, for me and for I guess a lot of people, politics is so much a part of everyday life, and it affects the way we think and it affects the way I see the world. So it comes into the songs that way, even if the song is about something completely different, then there is sort of a political sense to it.
You asked what I was working on. I said I'm writing an album of love songs.
I laughed and said love songs are dumb. Dumb.
And I said, oh yeah? Wait till you hear these ones.
Pass the wine, fuck the government, I love you.
3 statements overheard at once in the crowded room. But I could not be sure which one had come from you. So I passed you the wine and said, yes, fuck the government, I love you too.
Very excited to be here for Bluebird Festival in Vienna 2018 with an awesome lineup, so I'm really happy to be taking part. Thank you very much for having me.
Cause when I'm seeing double, it's your lullaby love that keeps me from trouble. It's your lullaby love that's keeping me level. Oh, it's your lullaby love that keeps me away.
When I started, I was very young actually. So I started writing poetry like 9, and I used to just love writing poetry. Used to enter into like poetry competitions and things, and then I discovered music when I was about 12, and started kind of writing guitar stuff and just playing around. I was never good at kind of following music rules or scores or anything like that. I just kind of made things up. So I had those 2 bits, and then a couple of years later started to put it together.
So remember that you were never forgotten me. Cause I know a line called the land of living is the world beyond those curtains where we learn to play. I hear the voices of my child singing, it's the world beyond those doorways where we used to play.
I'm not a model. I mean, I modeled for, a year of my life, but I was already writing music, and I'd been doing kind of booking my own shows in London for like 2 years, and no one had really heard of me because I was just doing it all myself. But then the modeling thing happened completely out of the blue. It was pretty amazing, but but then I only did it for 1 year, and then I got straight back to doing music. So, yeah, I kind of always see myself as a musician, not a model, but it was a fun time. Good memory.
Forgive and wash away the stains, and love you with what time remains anyway. Who wants a truce of bruises? My dog goes and my puppy dog goes yeah.
Wir sind Loose Lip Sync Chips.
Bluebirds Festival 2018.
Stars in our eyes, love in our thighs, heralding our own demise.
Don't you know this is a nobody's song? Don't you know you can't own anyone? Don't you know this is a nobody owns nobody anything at all?
Das hat vor allem dadurch angefangen, dass wir halt jeder und jede Songs schreiben und wir dann halt so die Songs von dem jeweils anderen irgendwie so gemeinsam arrangiert haben und ja, das wächst halt immer besser zusammen, finde ich.
If you could set me on fire, I'd probably explode. Be my parachute, be my parachute, be my parachute, be my parachute.
Für mich ist es schon auch so, dass vielleicht auch deswegen, weil wir uns halt jetzt so selten sehen irgendwie und so selten auch spielen, dass es dann jedes Mal einfach so, es geht so auf und es lebt dann so und das macht mich jedes Mal irrsinnig glücklich.
If that is all there is, then let's just keep on and see. Let the kind wind push across your face as the night slowly unfurls. We'll be the last ones to trust.
I've been working on something. Mirsan, River Whyless. Aus Asheville, North Carolina.
I'll tell you, baby, a secret. Manufactured truth is easy to sell when you own the factory and you own the hearts of the clientele. Can I truly blame you? We're built on a system where some must fit so that you can break through if you've got the right skin.
We're from the Appalachian Mountain region in North Carolina. So the Scots and the Irish came there and met with the Cherokee Native American tribes and settled in the mountains. And some of the music there is more modal and it's called old time music. And that would be sort of our style where we're from of American folk music would be old time, maybe gone into traditional tunes, bluegrass, things like that were sort of born out of where we're from. And that would be different from British folk.
Now when the day comes that I am lowered in a case of Van Dyke Brown, wanna hear my circus shouting out in benediction, wanna hear them singing all deaf with praise, wanna see you dancing in the glow of sundown, all around, so free, all around my grave.
I wasn't alive in the 60s, so I don't know exactly how it was back then, but I think music is certainly, at least in America, has certainly blended much more than it was in the 60s. It's less distinct as far as the genre or the influence. It's not so clear that it's, you know, a rock and roll or it's blues or it's whatever, folk music. It's all sort of coming together in some ways, and even a little bit of electronic music and digital sounding music is sort of blending together. But as far as politically, I think it is still, music is still participating in that political protest or just participating in general. It helps to, you know, as a counterculture aspect. But I'm not sure that it's quite the same as it was in the 60s.
All day coming down, Marina. All day your face on the ground.
Bluebird 2018. And there I am.
And don't follow roads paved in gold, they will only let you down. Besides, what's the fun if you can't share what you found?
Is it existing somewhere deep inside before you spit it out?
I think so. I think because lots of people, when they meet me, they expect me that I'm like a really sad person, and I'm not. I'm a really happy person. But I think lots of times if something does bother me, I kind of carry it, and then it finds its way naturally into a song or something. I don't sit down and go, I'm gonna write a song about this. I kind of, you know, will be playing around and sing something, and then I know why I said that, and then I know where that should go, and then I'll let it kind of go the way it's supposed to.
Now listen up, don't walk away. I've got nothing more to say. But can you see it in my dying face? You're acting like I care.
What do you got there? What is that?
I have the Bluebird 2018 information pamphlet.
Are you blue?
I'm one of the birds.
One of the birds.
Here we are, right here. First time playing a festival in Vienna.
You have the blues.
It feels like a movie, long before the end. Someone turns on all the lights. So I played the beginning again and again till there was nothing more that I could find. Whatever you needed from me, though I'm not sure. I only wish I had complied. Well, hello to your sea of clouds.
Avoid having a day job, make people happy, and drink beer. That's what being on stage is all about.
So kind of all those things, yeah.
I think to kind of release whatever expression is inside that can't necessarily come out with just words or something, kind of whatever unspoken feelings are here, maybe present that, and we can all collaborate with those feelings together, and maybe that'll make things feel a little better.
Raindrops like bullets on my fragile skin, and in the
insecurities of hell are creeping within. Now I'm 20 miles outside of the place that you live. But I need one more chance, and now the time's running thin.
I don't know, it's funny, after the election in 2016 in America, there's a couple Bob Dylan songs that seemed incredibly prophetic and relevant, and more so than they had for the first 28 years of my life, so I don't know. I think it goes around, comes around.
History repeats itself, and, you know, lyrics and poetry can kind of be interpreted anyway.
Now it's time to rock.
Yeah, woo!
Afraid to say that you need a jump start or anything to get you off of that cross. If you feel like your friends are parting, I can't be wrong. Afraid to say there are no more chances. Well, there are all yesterdays to lose. If the world doesn't leave you enchanted, I'll be there for you.
People ask me all the time in my country, what does the rest of the world think of the USA? I said, same thing that they always did. They think we're gun-obsessed, stupid, and insane. Goes back to Columbine and Reagan and Nixon and Vietnam and George Bush and the shock and awe campaign. That's always been the same since the first time I ever boarded a plane to cross an ocean. They think our country is unstable and insane. They look at me crooked when I'm in Finland, Iceland, Portugal, Norway, and Spain. Americans ask, really? They always thought that way of us? Sitting there holding their plastic big gulps. I said, yeah, they think we're a bunch of uneducated, Mountain Dew drinking, fast food eating dumbasses. But once I said to a promoter, you promoted me, right? So responsible for a couple of beautiful things. He said, yeah, but you guys shot John and Bob Kennedy and Martin Luther King. I said, well, one day of this conversation, I'm gonna sing. And by the way, we're responsible for Lou Reed and Bob Dylan. Who are you responsible for? Sting? 5? Then we have 10? 10? Okay, 10. All right. So that's how it goes. We only have 10 minutes left. I'm 51, you're like 16. Don't live by that philosophy that you're shouting up from there. Just do whatever you want, go as long as you want, for as long as you want at all fucking times. It's not a philosophy to live by. Though the haters don't stop hating, though the Gulf Coast is flooding, though the news is always troubling, though the headlines are befuddling, though our time is disintegrating, though our days are dissipating, though my friends in San Francisco all keep moving, though the city keeps on changing, though the roses are dry, though the orchid petals are falling, my love for you is undying. 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 Watching a fight the other night on Valencia Street in the Mission District with you at the burger joint. A guy from Nebraska versus a guy from Namibia. A woman was outside on the curb crying. Two men were consoling her by her side. Two men were consoling her by her side. I walked out and I asked, is she all right? They said, yeah, she's okay. Thank you for asking. Now go on and have a good night. I went and sang some songs at the chapel with some interesting other singers, like Black Dahlia from the Dwarves in the classy bar Davenport. And when I finished singing my song, a girl approached me and said, hey. I said, you look familiar. How do I know you? She said, you don't actually know me. My name is Vivian, and I really enjoy your singing. I said, thank you, and I shook her hand. Then she nodded to her friend. I grabbed her hand, and she left.